Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com. Hey y'all, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Mary Payne. It's Tuesday. I'm here with Kimberly to talk 90 days before the 90 days, season 6, episode 6, Dangerous Liaisons.
What the freak? I thought we were doing rom-coms. What is happening?
Oh, it's just movies. It's just movies.
I thought it was rom-coms because it started off with like Splash and Overboard. And now last week was Suspect, which I don't even think I know what that is.
Yeah, it's not in the genre I would have watched.
Dangerous Liaisons is not a rom-com, but it's a good movie.
John Malkovich, Glenn Close.
That was like a sexual awakening for me about John Malkovich.
Oh, was it?
In a really weird way.
How do you feel about him now?
I think it's gone now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gone. I watched that movie being John Malkovich and thought he was kind of hot.
Yeah.
In a scary way,
in a scary way, yes.
Yeah, he's very
specific. Like, I want to date him, but I don't want to be alone with him. So it might need to be like a throuple situation, or we'd only date in public. I don't know how it would work.
See, I'm the opposite. I would be like, yeah, I want to be alone with him to see what's going to happen, and then I wouldn't like it, and I would never see him again. Oh my God. Okay, I have a question about
sex dungeon. Speaking of old Datelines, he has a sex dungeon.
Oh, I think his is just right in his bedroom. I don't even think he tries to put it in a dungeon. He just pulls out a box from under the bed, and then you're terrified. All right, I have a question about the art above your head. It appears to be cross stitch.
Yeah.
And who is it in these pictures?
One are the characters from Golden Girls, and one are the characters from Buffy.
Okay.
And I did those when before I had my Etsy shop, and I was just like cross stitching for myself. So I bought those patterns online. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
I think you should also do one that is the host of Dateline.
I need to. If I need to contact that lady and see if she could make me a pattern. That's a wonderful idea. Keith's would be leaning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have made them cross stitches before, the hosts.
Okay.
And given them to them as gifts. But not with their like faces on them.
What was in the cross stitches that you gave them?
Well, Mankey said Mankey with the hanky, and it had a little hanky on it. And Andrea's said Queen Andrea, but the A, it was made out of white pants because she's always wearing white pants. And then there was like a crown on it. And then Keith said the Lean King, but it was leaning. The phrase was like leaning against a wall. And then Dennis just says, Dennis is enough. And no accoutrements, nothing. And he loves it. He's like sent us a picture of it in his kitchen. Like he loves it. And he sent us a thank you note in the mail. It's handwritten. Classy gentleman.
Love it.
And I think I made one for Lester too that said Lester the Vester, but now he's not wearing a vest. He's wearing a hanky, and it's a big mind effort.
It's just really throwing you for a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you hear anything in my house, it is because there's 2 dogs roaming about. And then also I have some work being done 2 floors below in our lower level, darling, also known as the basement. So I did hear it. I was on a conference call before this, and I did hear it. And I was concerned that the person I was on the conference call with thought that I was tooting or something, because it was like, and it's like far away enough could it look like possibly I was like passing gas and pretending like I wasn't.
I had a listener write us once and said, oh, I was listening to your old episodes, and at this moment, this time code, it sounds like you farted. And I said, dear God, does it? And I went back and I couldn't hear anything. I feel like Katie would edit it out. I don't think I've ever farted on the air. I'm a pretty private farter. So
I am too.
Like very private. So I don't know. But just enough that they thought that was embarrassing to me. I don't know why I talk about poop all the time. Why am I so embarrassed about a fart? But fart's so much more embarrassing to me.
I don't even say that word. I say toot or poot.
We say foofy in my house. In my parents, my parents always said foofy.
Oh, okay. I just say, toot. She tooted,
Mhm.
but I don't even say that word. So no, I definitely, if there was any chance of that ever happening, I would not be recording that day.
Mary
I would
Payne
just
is a
wouldn't record at all.
Southern lady.
Hmm. I wouldn't even
Classy.
record. Mm-mm. I would claim illness. Absolutely not. I can't record if there's a possibility of any tooting happening. Okay.
There are certain women that I feel like are like a different species. Like to me, Andrea Canning does. I
Hmm.
don't think she foofies at all or
Hmm.
poops or anything, and
Hmm.
she doesn't sweat. She's just perfect. Every time I've met her, she's perfect. Taylor
Yes.
Swift, I don't think she farts or poops. Um,
Uh-huh. I'm just
Angelina Jolie, maybe.
I'm disagreeing with you on all this because I think everybody does do these things,
How do they
but
give off that aura that they don't?
well, maybe they're like me and they just refuse to talk about it. So if you refuse to talk about it, it never happens.
How uncomfortable are you right now?
Very. How uncomfortable was I on this week's episode of 90 Day Before the 90 Days? There's so much
So
sex
much
talk,
sex.
so much detailed sex talk.
Oh my gosh. Like the most I think we've ever had. Like clinical, but
Yeah.
also not clinical because not using the names of body parts, using fruits instead and in
And
foods.
pastries. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just not great. I just can't. I just can't. So why don't we start with a couple who does not talk about sex? They fight, and that's Riley and Violet. Once again, not seeing an angry man, but I am
Thank
seeing
you.
an annoyed man, maybe, but
Yeah.
not angry.
And I think without every reason to be.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not against Violet. I loved her lovely family and the food looked incredible. I'm not anti-Violet. Listen, I am sure once again we're going to be proven wrong, and I'm going to be on Reality Gaze coming up to talk about the next episode, episode 7. I don't know the name of it. With just with Jake because Matt's still out with his surgery, and I'm sure he's going to school me up and down the street to tell me
Can
how
you
wrong I
please
am about
defend
Riley.
us
I
and
am.
me too?
Yeah. Unless something happens on that episode 7 that's indefensible. But so far, I haven't seen it.
No, and on Twitter, actually, it seems people really hate Violet. They think she's really rude and disrespectful and doesn't really like him and probably has a bunch of other guys that she's talking to. So
Ooh, I'm not
it's
going to say
just your
that.
listeners that are against us.
No, I don't think so. I don't necessarily think that about Violet either. I think she has a very sarcastic sense of humor that maybe
It's
that
not
just
translating. Yeah.
is not translating. And if their whole love language is I'm going to flip you off, then they should both be able to give it and take it. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes it just doesn't if you're talking about somebody in another language and they're laughing at you, that's not going to translate.
No, that's not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun.
That's not fun for anybody. So she takes him to get him fitted for a traditional Vietnamese outfit where she refers to him as a friend. A lot of people online were like, oh, ouch. He's friend zone in another language. It's like, this is my friend. He's a good sport, I think, for the first half hour of the fitting. She is talking about him in Vietnamese to the lady in front of him, and he tries to talk, and she says, no, you don't talk. I'm your boss, remember? You only talk, because they had that game before. You only talk when I let you talk. And he laughs and is a good sport about it. And then she's like, look how big your belly is. This is how many centimeters your belly is. Wow, big. And then he's like, okay, ha, ha, ha. It's getting less funny. And then he flips her off jokingly. And then she asks the lady, do you think he's handsome? And the lady says, yeah, he's okay, but he's old. And Violet says, old and ugly. And to the other lady in Vietnamese. And he says, what are you saying about me? And she says, I said you're ugly and old and very bad. And she's laughing like it's the funniest thing ever. So it's very strange because that's a joke if you do it to someone else, but you're talking about them to someone else. That's not a joke. It's if I said it, first of all, that joke only works if you're talking to an actual supermodel. This is my friend Blake Lively. Isn't she a dog? She's atrocious. That's when it works. But Riley's just a normal looking person, so it doesn't work. And then she says, oh, that's just how we joke in Vietnam. Americans are too sensitive. You're so sensitive about being called ugly to someone that you've never met, and they're laughing at you.
I think that I get it if that's her humor, but it wasn't funny because it wasn't like the other woman. All three of them were speaking the same language. And she said, oh, this is my boyfriend. And then she said, his belly is big, which she may just be, replying because she's blunt and she's measuring him. But then for her to, if they were all speaking the same language, she goes, oh, I know, and he's ugly too and old. And she joked and they all laughed. He'd be like, oh, shut up.
But she's saying it to someone else in another language that he doesn't know.
And they're laughing at him. He's not laughing with them.
But then she does just tell him, yeah, that's what we said. And we were totally laughing about you. And I'm laughing right now at your face.
Yeah. And I think that he handled that pretty well. Now, yeah, I don't know. I think
he's a tiny bit annoyed.
Yeah.
But he does get that that's her humor and they have that banter.
Yeah. They do have that banter, but again, if you're not speaking the same language and hearing the joke, how is it a joke? It's just a joke at your expense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Then they go outside and she gets a text and he says, who is that? And she says, I don't need to tell you. She kind of like really defensive right off the bat. And he says, who is that guy? Why does he have no shirt on in that text that you just got? She says, that's my friend. And he says, can I see? And she says, I don't need to tell you. It's my private life. I never asked if you're texting with girls. And he says, I don't text with girls, especially not girls with no shirts on. Right. So what are you talking about? And then he just kind of flips and he does get angry. But like, I think this is his history, which is not an excuse, but like B, a history that she has had of deceptive behavior since the beginning too. So he goes, you're a liar, you're lying. And show me your phone. And she says no. And he says, okay, good luck. And he walks away. He's like, done. But he doesn't throw anything. He doesn't scream. But people are still going to say he's angry.
Well, he was angry. And I think he had reason to be angry at her because she's like, no, I'm not going to show you my phone.
Yeah, it was justifiable.
Anybody that's in a relationship with somebody and is standing there and a text comes up with the opposite sex with no shirt on or with a woman in like bra and underwear or whatever would be the equivalent. Questions. You would be like, what the heck is that?
And to not even get a like, oh, it's my friend. She immediately was like, you can't see that. Like the second he asked to see it, or who is that? I don't have to tell you. Like,
yeah, because she said in our country, until you're married, you can't ask these questions. Or I was like, well,
yeah. So, she follows him, and we see a very funny shot. I don't know if you noticed of a boom guy and like a camera guy running in the background, and they're like, "Oh crap, we are on camera!" And they duck really fast out of frame. And they were panicked. You could see it. It was really funny.
That is funny. I did not see.
We ruined the shot.
That's funny.
And so she walks up and she goes, he's my friend. He's like my best friend. He's a teacher at the school that I work at. And I set him up with my friend and they're dating now. Why couldn't you have said that? Why did you immediately have to be like, I don't have to tell you?
But why was that friend sending her a picture of himself without a shirt on?
Is it like, do you think your girlfriend that you set me up with will like my body in this picture? Like, is he on advice? Is this a good thirst trap for the girl that you set me up with?
You guys can see Kimberly. She's got her hand on her hip like, hi.
Hi.
I'm a little teakup, you know.
A sexy little teacup.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have no reason.
Or was that like his little icon? Like his icon is a shirtless picture.
I think it was a big picture. Like he texted her that picture.
Yeah. And was it like, okay, I'm going to set you up with my friend. So send me a picture that I can send my friend to say, do you want to go out with this guy? Now,
but if that's the case, they're already dating.
Yeah, because that's why it didn't make sense. Because I'm trying to make excuses, but I'm not coming up with any.
It doesn't make sense to me. So he says, okay, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. Show me your phone. She still won't. And then she says, listen, we're just dating. You don't have the right to ask me anything like this. I respect your privacy. And she says, I never lied to you. And he says, okay, what about when you said you were divorced and you were not divorced yet? What about, and then he talks about this thing with the visa that I don't know if we knew about. It was like, you said your visa was denied. And she says, they told me at the office to tell you that. And then I would apply again or something. So,
yeah, I didn't quite get that.
I didn't either, but apparently she was shady, or he felt like she was being shady. And he says, she says, if I'm such a liar, why did you come here? And he says, I've been trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you still have secrets and things that I'm not allowed to ask you about. So it's not clearing my mind. And she says, in Vietnam, you keep your private life private until you're married, and then you tell them everything. And we're not married yet. So... But then you don't know what people's secrets are before you're getting married. And that's how datelines happen. You should take care of those secrets before you get married.
Yeah, I just think that they both kind of had a little bit of immature reactions, like where he's like, bye, I'm going, then get home on your own, like that. And then she's like, I don't have to show you my phone. You know what I mean? They both were a little stubborn and immature in their reactions. But here's what I say. If you expect a keep to be coming in, keep your phone in your purse and don't look at it until he's not around. Yeah. That's what I think.
So she says, listen, we're going to meet my family. I don't want you to be cranky pants and put a smile on your face. Can you do that? And he says, absolutely, I will smile and be nice, because no matter what's happening between us, I really care about your family. So I'm going to be nice. I was like, he's lovely. What is the problem?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not perfect by any means, but he's way nicer than a lot of people on the show. So, like, we've seen many temper tantrums in front of people's families. And he's no, I would never do that. So they go to the house, and her daughters look at him like he's a ghost. And I was like, did they not expect him to get to be there? And then they just say, you're so much taller than I thought you'd be. And he is like 2 feet taller than
he's a big dude. And I thought, I don't know, that whole scene of them going in and him being like, oh, we don't have doors like this. And
this is different.
And this is different. And then like hugging them, and the girls came. I thought the whole thing was very nice.
He is delighted to see them. It's like he wants the family just as much as he wants her. And I think he said that before. He like really wants the family. So he knows all their names, and he knows everything he knows the dog's name. He picks up the dog and starts baby talking to the dog. He's like hugging her little brother. He's just amped to be there. He's like beaming and almost crying. Like, it's very pure, at least to me. So he brings presents for everyone, and he's watching them like open their presents, like so excited. And then you see the mom is making a face. And you're like, what's happening? And then she tells us that, why didn't he bring a present for me? You are supposed to bring a present for the potential mother-in-law. And if you come empty-handed, you might lose your wife. She turns into Mama Asuelu.
Yeah, it was
I want my money.
But I mean, you're going to somebody's house. You normally bring that, bring like a gift.
She does. He only brings for the 2 daughters, not for the brother or for the mom. And he brings 2 gifts to each of the daughters.
Yeah.
He could have divided that up.
Well, I mean, he could have stopped at duty free and got something for the mom.
I mean, Kim brought a cow, which we now know was too much. That was too flashy. But there have been other gifts that would be more appropriate. I think there was a microwave or something one time.
Angela bought Michael's mom a microwave. Yes.
So there's something in between cow and nothing. And he should have done that. Yeah.
A Michael Kors handbag.
Yeah.
To cow in between. You could have got something. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So the mom starts right in, and which is funny because Violet had been like, be nice. We're not doing this in front of my family. And then they all just start in with him, and Violet starts in too. They all like start drama and start talking about the drama. And like, why do you make my daughter cry? And you have our temper that I'm still not seeing, but our listeners are. And he says, I want to be good with Violet. I just don't like being lied to. That's what I have a problem with. And one of the daughters says the word liar is too heavy and disrespectful. So maybe he needs to soften his phrasing and be like, I don't know what's better than liar. Not deceitful. That's just as bad.
You didn't tell me the
Shady.
truth. You didn't tell me the truth.
Yeah. So Violet tells them what happened today about the text.
Yeah.
And I thought we were all supposed to be nice for the family. And she said, the mom says, these Thai Vietnam women are faithful and they are not jerks. And so he needs to stop this and realize you're not doing anything. And the other daughter says, if you're a couple, you need to believe each other. And he says, I will try to be better. I really want to work on it. I've been hurt in the past. That's why I'm like this, but I'm going to try because I love her. And somehow he has wound up apologizing for her getting shirtless texts from a dude. So, masterful, Violet. Well done.
And the daughters really love the gifts, and it seems like he was thoughtful because he got the one girl Nikes and it was her size, and the other girl this like pink Michael Kors backpack. It seems like these were in a certain lipstick that she wanted. It seems like the things that he got were things that like he had been thoughtful about, and not just like Escott and Lydia, like he just got the bargain bin at the duty free. Yeah,
totally. He didn't like stop at the gas station and get like a a mixtape of That's So 90s or something on cassette tape and give it to them. Like, he gave a thought. He would be a great stepdad for them. I think he really cares. But somehow he's apologizing now at the end. Boy.
Well, I'm glad to see that people online don't think he's like angry.
I felt validated. There were a couple that were like, he is one person called him despicable.
Ew.
What have we seen of him? What are people saying? That word is so harsh. I do not know what they're talking about.
Some people
Jasmine's
are very
despicable.
She's despicable, yeah. But some people are very focused on the PI part of it. And I think that is because when the PI said I could follow her around, he was like, oh, you would do that? All right, well, let me think about it. And then he didn't do it, guys.
He didn't do it.
But I kind of was like, well, if she lied about her divorce and she lied about being off the apps,
and the visa,
and now she's lied about a visa, then maybe he
doesn't want to get catfished like Tyree. Like, we're mad at Tyree for not being smarter, and then we're mad at Riley for not being a little bit proactive and trying to just make sure she's like legally married and who she says she is.
Right.
That's all he wanted. He didn't want her followed. He just wants to know that she is who she says she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Oh. All right. Well, listen, TBD. Next week, we could be biting our tongues and saying like everybody was right all along. We are aware that could happen. But from what we have seen, we have not seen him being angry or anything other than just slightly annoyed that she got a topless photo of a dude.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to my favorite law firm, Statler and Dempsey. Statler and Dempsey LLC.
My last claim. They got me a sweet penny.
Oh, so Statler is our new cast member. She's 33 from Irving, Texas, and she is going to Darlington, England to meet Dempsey, the love of her life, who's 26.
I'm so glad you clarified because I was like kind of zoning out a little on that segment. So I kept thinking the girl's name was Darlington. But then I heard Dempsey, like Patrick. Yeah. Yes. And I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah. But Statler and Dempsey are two very ambiguous names that could mean anything, you know? So Statler
sounds to me like the name of a car, like a truck.
It could be. Yeah.
A Rav Statler. 4-wheel drive.
I just think of Statler and whoever, the two old guys in the balcony, at the Muppets. Yeah.
Yeah. But she's gorgeous too, by the way.
I enjoyed her until she really is leaning into like how wild and crazy she is. And she's so wacky and so different. And look at me, I'm so crazy eating a Hungry Man TV dinner. I don't know. When people really try to tell you how wild and crazy and different and wacky they are, it just irritates me.
Yeah. Yeah. People in my college who would be like, I'm so random. Did you see that I just did that? I'm so random.
Okay.
So annoying.
Yeah. So Statler is 33. She's from Irving, Texas. And we open with her, and she's out in the woods behind her house digging and foraging for roly-polies or something. She's ripping up bark, and she says she really loves to look at bugs because she's so crazy. And she relates to bugs.
I like her. I'm going to stick up for her.
I don't dislike her.
It's just too much for you right now.
It's just a lot when people are like, oh my God, keep Austin weird. So keep Irving weird. So she says she relates to bugs because no one notices them and no one likes them. And it's unpopular to like them, just like her. And when she was growing up, people thought she was a weirdo and strange. And it's because she has ADHD. Now, I got to tell you something. I grew up with ADD. My daughter currently has ADHD. And it's not that wacky. A lot of people have it. A lot of people have it. Okay. I had it. My kid has it.
It doesn't make you special.
I mean, it does make her special. And it's, like the Holderness family, like he says, Penn Holderness says.
It's his superpower.
It's his superpower. So I get that.
That's how they won the Amazing Race.
I get it. But okay, well, we'll just keep going with her. But anyway, she lets us know she has a little spiciness, a little neuro spiciness. It's called ADD. And she has real specific focus, or she's all over the place. And then she explains how that works. She works for 10 minutes and then she gets, and as a person that lives with a person with severe ADHD, I got to tell you, it's true. It's a lot of.
All of what she was saying rang very true for the person that is very close to me that has it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of half-done Lego projects all over this house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, but her place is way cleaner than most people I know with ADHD.
Right.
Because I think she's used her hyper focus to clean instead of, which is amazing. That's and I am like, I don't even have ADHD. What is my excuse? My place is disgusting.
In my experience, a lot of people I know and myself with ADD, ADHD aren't very organized. Yeah. But anyway, so she says she could be all over the place, and she gives examples. I can work, but then I got to get up and I got to do this. And she's like, I mean, I really, really, really have it. Okay. All right. She works in the finance department of like a trucking company.
That would be annoying though, because it's one of those things like OCD where people are just like, oh my God, I have OCD, but they don't really have it. That would probably be very annoying if you really have it.
Yeah, I mean, but she really, really has it, she tells us. She tells us really 4 times. And we get it. You have it. Okay. No one's not believing you. We get it.
Lying, Statler. Someone did, though. Someone thought she was lying, obviously.
Somebody thought she was using it as an excuse. So she works in the finance department of some sort of trucking company, she says. And it's hard for her to focus working from home, which I think is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
And she says, people have a hard time being patient with me, and I get rejected. And, I was rejected before I was even born. I was rejected on day 1 because I was adopted and picked up by another family.
That is a horrible, sad way to think about it.
That made me very sad that she thinks of that way.
That breaks my heart.
I'm not an adopted person, so I can't speak to it, but it made me very sad that she thought I was rejected before I was even born.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I got to be with this other wonderful family, but maybe it wasn't so wonderful.
It had nothing to do with you as a person. They didn't even know you. It was their situation. Yeah.
So she says the family that she was adopted into already had 2 boys and really wanted a girl. And the way to do that is to adopt. And she believes they had the best intentions, but she never felt she measured up in that family because the boys were like the golden children. They were very involved in sports and they had very good grades. She always had terrible grades and felt like a disappointment. And then when she came out as gay, she felt like that was a further disappointment to her parents. But
horrible.
It's also very sad. And she says she had to live her authentic life. And then at that point, she started getting lots of women, like 2, 3 in the same day, 2, 3 in the same night. And, I really like to be creative on a first date and do a scavenger hunt. I like to take it to the bedroom on the first date. I've had sex in a church while church was going on.
What would Misha and Nico think about that? Their
Misha,
beloved church.
I don't know what they would say. I will be interested when they have like a tell-all if they ask Misha and Nicola what they think about that.
Yeah.
Wow. And she's had sex in an elevator, like the doors opening and closing, people getting on and off, and she's having sex in an elevator.
That makes me uncomfortable.
I'm like, well,
elevators are gross.
Well, why? People are getting on the elevator and you're just banging in the corner and you're like, don't mind me.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I'm trying to get up to the 14th floor. Like, I don't. All right. So, but she says, I'm just a total freak and sex is super important to me, but all I want is unconditional love. And I've never had a successful relationship. But she found an amazing woman in England. She loves the accent. Who wouldn't, bruh? It's Dempsey. Now, I will say that somebody posted, TLC posted on their Twitter. I didn't see it, but somebody posted the screenshots of Twitter saying that Statler met Dempsey on a roommate-seeking website in England. That's where she met her.
Oh.
And then Dempsey said, I have 2 cats. Is that a problem? And that Statler replied, that's great because I love pussy.
That sounds right. Yeah, that checks out.
I apologize for saying that word. I hate that word. I'm sorry. Yeah. But that's how she met her. So I don't know if that was like during the time when she was dating the other girl later.
Right.
We find out from England if
like, should she stay in England? Like, was she?
Yeah, because she was already planning to move there. Maybe she's looking for a roommate. I don't know.
But she's never met Dempsey in person, right?
It didn't really seem to be a problem for her. She seems to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So it's Dempsey. They've been talking for 7 months every single day, and she's flying out to meet her in person. And she thinks for sure Dempsey is her soulmate. They're going to get married. She's her forever person. She feels it. And if it all goes well on this visit, then she's going to move there. And producer's like, oh, okay. Does Dempsey know this? Because we've talked to Dempsey and she didn't seem to, huh? And she goes, no, she's not aware. I'm so wacky with my TV dinner. Okay.
That
TV
is the lesbian stereotype is they show up with the U-Haul on the first date. So she's really leaning into that.
Yeah, that is a stereotype. So she laughs and says, well, I guess we should meet first before I decide to move in. And then she's like, but why not? Why not go all the way over there for a chance at love? But I'm hoping that once again, it's not a disappointment and I don't get my heart shattered.
How many close-ups did they do of that fork? Like first she had the potatoes, then she put a little thing of meat on the potatoes, and then she put a couple pieces of corn on the potatoes. Just so many close-ups of that fork.
It just looked gross to me, the food.
The potatoes looked okay, but the rest did not.
I don't think a TV dinner is for me. I mean, I'll go as far as like...
I have a lot of frozen dinners, not Hungry Man, though. I've never had a Hungry Man.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking like a lean cuisine with pasta or some pizzas or whatever. Yeah,
I have those.
I don't think Hungry Man would appeal to you since you're vegetarian. Yeah. So now she is with her friend Cy. She and Cy have been friends for a while, and they're going to a chocolate sex place. It's a place where it's chocolate, but it's all about sex.
I don't know, but on Pillow Talk, Lauren goes, that's so 2002. In this really bitchy voice.
So Lauren's not a fan of Statler and her sex talk.
She didn't like the sex place, the sex chocolate thing. Apparently that was just overdone in 2002.
Well, I've never heard of it, but I don't want to go. And I definitely don't want to go with my buddy.
No, I don't want to go after watching the drinks. Like at first it sounded fun, but then to see how interactive it was with the waiter. No.
Yeah, with the waitress. So she was like, you got to lick it. You got to suck it. You're like, what? I don't know you, sir. So they go to this place and Statler says, yeah, Dempsey is currently in Thailand on vacation with her dad. So we can't talk as much as we did. And it's, making me kind of nervous. It sucks. Yo, I'm sorry. And they're going to be arriving in London at the exact same time. So Dempsey's coming from Thailand. She's coming from the States, but they're both going to arrive in London at the same time. I can't imagine what the time zone situation is there. No, they're going to be so on opposite schedules.
Cranky.
Yeah. She says, and, it's great because I've never had sex in an airport. Okay. We get it.
She have a checklist somewhere.
We get
it. Crazy places she wants to have sex. Disneyland.
So at the sex and dessert shop, she says she thinks sex and dessert go hand in hand because there's licking and there's eating involved. And Sai says, so have you and Dempsey been sexting since she's been in Thailand? She's like, no, she's not really like that. She's shy. And, I'm more experienced. I'm super kinky. She says kinky several times that she's experienced and Dempsey is not. And she says, I worry that Dempsey is going to bore me sexually. All right. So now we get these.
I worry anyone is going to bore you sexually.
Yeah, I do too. If you want to have sex at the airport after you've just been on
going to be monogamous, it doesn't sound like you're super monogamous. You have multiple girls in the same night.
Yeah, it sounds like. I mean, she's sowing her oats and that's fine. But now she's in her 30s and wants to settle down. Okay, well, I don't think she's going to be boring sexually, but like give her a chance.
Yeah.
Jeez. So now we get these 69 shots and more lickety pie or whatnot. We get it. Sex, lick. Sex, chocolate. We get it. So then Sai tells Statler, I think you move too fast and maybe you should try to take it slower. And Statler goes, I don't know. If all goes well in England, my plan is to come home for 2 weeks, pack up, sell all my stuff, and move to England. And Sai's
I'm going to do the exact opposite of what you're telling me.
Sai says, yeah, I don't think you need to rush into something again. Remember what happened last time? Dun, dun, dun. Statler says, well, okay, I already have an ex in England who I had intense feelings for, and I was ready to move there and move in and live with her. And then she dumped me really quickly. She dumped me because we moved too quickly after I got home. And we still message and everything, but I do worry it could happen again. So Sai says, are you still talking to that ex? And she says, no, I did consider it. And, she messaged me the other day and said that she made a mistake and that I'm the only person she'll ever love. And Sai goes, okay, so what if Dempsey falls through like the first one did? And she's like, well, Statler's like, there were tons of red flags with my ex, but there's none with Dempsey. The thing about red flags is you don't see them.
Yeah, they're hidden.
Yeah, they're hidden. And then you see him next year.
Is this going to be like that one guy who went somewhere and then like it fell through with that one girl? So he talked to another girl that he was like, oh, well, I have a backup. And then he started hooking up with the backup.
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but he was a little guy. He was in Colombia and he wore a headband.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she says, let's see. She says, she needs to learn to slow down and get to know somebody before jumping in. This is what Sai says. So Sai goes outside doing ITM and she says, I've seen Statler get her heart broken over and over because she just needs to learn how to slow down and she has to get to know somebody. She's always just jumping in. And if she did that, maybe she would be more successful in these relationships instead of just like love bombing the shit out of somebody. So the next day or the next night, we don't know. Statler's packing in her bedroom like a normal person, not in her living room. And she was like just throwing shit on her bed like, this looks like 50 pounds. I don't know. And she's like, packing is very bad. It's making my ADHD go crazy because I'm getting distracted. But then we see the next morning she's getting ready and she goes in her bathroom and gets those like barf bags that you get from the hospital. They're like, they're flat.
He had those. So why does she have those?
I don't know. You get them from the hospital, like after surgery in case you throw up in the car on the way home.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she had 2 of them.
Yeah.
So she was like, I've got barf bags and I've got Lysol wipes and I'm ready to rock. So she says, I do feel weird going there because I haven't been talking to Dempsey as much as I was. She's like, oh my God, my stomach. She's like, my brain and my stomach are super connected. So like, I'm so nervous. So of course that's giving me stomach issues.
Yeah, she has panic poops.
Yeah, panic poop. And in the van, she tells
I can relate.
Yeah, because her stomach is just in knots. And in the van, she tells the producer, oh God, Dempsey just sent me a text about she might not make her flight. And she's going to miss her flight out of Thailand. And then she's like, oh, great. That's all I need. I'm going to have to call that ex-girlfriend to have sex with me in the airport. So on the plane, she's a nervous wreck. And she says, I got to take a chance. And I hope it's going to be a happy ending. And then that's the end of her segment. But wow.
She says my favorite thing on the show, which is, it's my turn. I love any variation of it's my turn or it's my time, which means
right.
I have been selfless and screwed over in love and it's my time. So I'm going to be as reckless and dumb as possible, and I'm going to ignore everyone's good advice because it's my turn.
Yeah, it's my turn. It's my time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Usually it's people that are older that say that. She's quite young to be saying. I remember Kim said it a lot.
So did Raquel on Scandal. It was like, I don't know. I just decided I didn't have to be Patches anymore, so I decided it's my turn. Okay. Your turn to steal your friend's boyfriend? Yeah. That's weird.
That's not a thing.
All right, let's move on to let's go to Christian and Cleo. Yeah, let's go to Christian and Cleo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let me find them in my notes. He is flying to England to meet her. He's watching a Bond movie. He's trying to get the vibes going. He is wearing, in his solo hero shot, a jaunty vest with flowers on it.
It's not cute.
No, I don't. Mm-mm. I do not love that. He appears to get so drunk on the plane ride over that they cut him off halfway through the flight. Like still 5 hours at least to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is not like they cut him off half an hour before. How drunk was he that they cut him off 5 hours before?
He said, I just asked for another drink and they said no. And I was like,
he does love to drink. He has told us that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Or is he just very nervous? He also is getting 3 bloody noses.
He thinned out his blood with all that drinking and that altitude. Now he's getting nosebleeds. Yeah.
And so he does the tissues up the nose in that super sexy way. Very. And Cleo is going to pick him up. She tells her cats, I'm going to pick up Daddy. Cleo.
No.
This is your first mistake. Yeah. Did we learn nothing from Nicole and Azin? Do not have your children call your internet boyfriend daddy before they've even met them. Those cats are going to have some issues growing up. So they need therapy. So she thinks she looks great. She's serving fish, which I knew what that meant because of the one season of Drag Race that Katie made me watch. And which is her favorite show. And I'm not into it, but she loves that show. So I did learn a lot. It means you're serving female realness, cisgender female realness. And I'm not going to explain to Joni, who's listening, why it's called serving fish.
Yeah, I can understand that. I don't like that at all.
I'm sure you don't. Yeah.
But I get it. Yeah. Okay.
So they, to prepare to go to the airport, she has her bag of coping tools, noise canceling headphones, fidget toy, and sunflower lanyard, which I'm so glad we learned about from this show.
Yeah.
I love that. So she's nervous that he won't think she's feminine enough and won't want to kiss her. And he's thinking the same thing on his flight. Like, am I going to be attracted to her? Should I kiss her? We are all nervous. I was nervous and I was ready to riot if he hurts her feelings, plays with her heart. No, he seems really happy to see her though when he lands, and they hug and he kisses her. Some people online felt like he was doing it to like convince himself that he's okay with it and prove to everyone that he's okay with it. I don't know what I thought. It seemed really cute, but then it immediately gets very awkward after that, after the kiss.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is that we know that they shoot those a couple of times.
Right. So that maybe that's why. Yeah.
And maybe he did it the second time because he saw her the first time. I was like, I am attracted to her. On the second take, I'm going to kiss her. You know? Right. Yeah.
And she's so happy. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know you were going to do that. And then he says, he's so excited to see her. And she says, I'm so sorry. I'm so tall today because she's wearing heels. And he says, the taller they are, the higher I climb, or something dumb like that.
Something
he's
dumb.
Just always on. I think Austin Powers is his favorite movie. That's just a guess. That's the vibe I'm getting. And she says, he is so cute. He is out of my league. And he says, that's ridiculous. You're out of my league. That's not true. No, he doesn't. He just says, oh, wow, thank you, babe. That's so nice. And then it just sits there.
Yeah, I would think looking at them side to side, one would think she was out of his league. She was out of his league.
She's out of his league for sure. And then he says, you look beautiful. And he says he felt inflamed with her, but he's still nervous. It's really awkward, as some of these couples are the first time they meet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then in their new hero shot, though, they are kind of standing side by side, and then they reach out and hold hands like kids on a field trip wearing matching shirts. And it doesn't give me romantic feelings at all. It felt very like friendship.
Well, it's just like Jasmine and Gina is one of their shots. You know, she's like, schoolgirl, look at me. I'm so innocent.
Oh,
you know?
God.
Yeah.
So he's being goofy in the car, and he's making jokes about accents and declaring independence from England, which I'm sure the Uber driver was loving. He's like,
dumb.
get this dumb American out of my car. So he brings up how out of nowhere, he's like, it was really sweet when you said I was out of your league. Yeah, and then it just sits there again.
He's never had such a compliment.
But then you say, that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You are so beautiful. You're out of my league.
Yes.
There's so many ways to make that nice. And then he just keeps saying, that was so sweet. And then he says, I love your nose.
Yep. Yeah, maybe he has a nose thing. You know, Keisha has a thing.
I mean, she has a good nose.
Keisha has a thing with noses.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But again, say that no one's out of anyone's league. That's not true.
We're equally matched.
Yeah. So she is excited for him to meet the cats, and he comes in, and which is exactly what happens on the podcast when Katie pulls out her cats, and I'm like, cute. Hi. He goes, they look fun.
She's like, your daddy's here. And he's like, okay, now. No.
They get the vibe from him that he is a dog person. And he then says, I'm actually more of a dog person. And so he says, it's okay. I'm not their daddy yet. Maybe call me Uncle Christian. And she says, well, that would mean that we're brother and sister. And he says, no, I'm like the family friend. You know that weird family friend that's not related, but you call them uncle and it's kind of creepy? That's who he wants to be.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And he says, I'm not their daddy. We're not even married yet, which was interesting. Like a little slip of the tongue, like we're not married yet.
The whole thing was
joking around. But
the whole back and forth about like, I'm not your uncle because that would mean we're related and we're not married yet. And then the dad, it's just they're awkward and they're like looking for things to talk about. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he gets ready for bed and he tells us he doesn't want to dive into intimacy yet, but she comes out in a negligee and he says, you look cute.
Yeah.
You look cute.
She has like a little silky nightgown, and he's like, oh, I've been flying. I gotta sleep. That's what most people do.
Did he shower or did he pull a David?
He pulled a David, but he didn't have to go as far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just like go to sleep. It's so awkward. They do a little peck and then they go to sleep. And she's hoping that he gets more affectionate and less awkward fast. She's giving him a day. She goes, I hope in one day.
One day.
He gets better.
Well, I hate to make you keep talking, but next on the list is David and Sheila. And everybody gird your loins and hide your eyes because this is about to get real raunchy.
Oh my God. The horniest hearing impaired people on television, David and Sheila post-coitus.
Ish. Kind of. He says, wow. It was awkward at first, but then we got in sync. And I was very horny. And she got something that is bleeped out that I don't think was like the D or something. I don't know what he was saying. I know what he said.
She got effed? I don't know.
No.
Do you want to give me a letter?
Starts with a W. It's only 3 letters. She was ready.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I gotcha. I was very horny, he says, and my banana got very hard. And he's signing all of this. So we're learning a lot of like the sign for banana. And I tried to get my banana. Can't believe I'm saying this. Through her donut. but my banana was so hard to get in. And he does the gesture that we all know, even if you don't speak ASL, we all know that gesture because we were all in middle school. And
but they blur out the donut part. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So the banana part was not blurred, but he was jabbing the banana into the donut, but they were blurring his hand where he was holding up the donut part. I was like, we still know what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And then she explains that it wasn't comfortable to her because it's been a long time that since she's had sex, and it was painful. And he seems very understanding, and he says, "That's okay, my honey." They just keep calling each other honey. You're lucky I'm good with my hands. And then that's it. And then you kind of relax a second, and you like are into a comfortability. I think we've passed that section. It's like after you have a bad contraction or your period and you have a cramp, and you're like that peaceful moment in between. But then she keeps going, and she goes, "So what happened is I gave him a BJ, and I made sure that he." And then he started kissing me, and he kissed my boobs, and he kissed my nipples, and he kissed my private parts." And then she's laughing, and I'm like, you don't have to say this in detail. You could just say we did stuff.
We need to refuse to get play. Yeah, you could refuse to give details. You could just go, "Oh, yeah, it was great. Yeah, I was happy."
I mean, even the producers, I feel like when they're like, "Can you elaborate?" They're probably egging them on. Even they probably were not expecting a play-by-play of the body parts that he touched with what, etc.
Well, I mean, you're wondering if they did that. Like,
there's a diagram, and she's pointing. First, he kissed here, and then he went down here.
Well, I mean, but he was so graphic that I wondered that they talked to him first, and they were like, "Yeah."
But it's good. It's interesting they both are on the same page in being willing to talk about this.
Yeah.
Maybe they are very goodly matched.
Yes.
That's not the right.
Yeah. Good. Yes. Maybe perhaps they're goodly matched. Goodly matched.
Goodly matched. So I'm so thrown by all the sex talk. So
I know, a lot.
Then you think you're done. And then you get eased into another peaceful moment. And then he says, "Well, I haven't had sex in 4 years." And she says, "How did you survive not having sex in 4 years?" By the way, they're all doing this on the translator app. And he says, "Well," and then he does another gesture, which we are also all familiar with because we were in junior high, which is self-pleasuring.
But he does his arm up and down as if he was working with a broomstick. Like, what is happening in your pants?
His banana is huge. So
more like a plantain, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
And so they're laughing. I mean, they have the same sense of humor. It's really working for them. It's not working for me as an audience member, but it's working for them. So that's all that matters. And then she says it was different because he's hard of hearing and he's very quiet during sex. And my ex talked about nonsense during sex. Like, what did he talk about? Like a new recipe for Greek salad that he found? Or like, we should see that new
really
Tom
me
Cruise
crazy.
movie? Like, gas prices have skyrocketed lately. Like, what did he talk about during sex? So David was very quiet. So I think she liked that. I think she was fine with it just because thank God her ex was so chatty Cathy.
Right. I mean, she could put some music on. She could put something on. If she needs some noise. Yeah.
Yeah. So he brought flashcards to help her learn sign language. Very cute. She's very excited and she seems to be learning. She's constantly practicing. And he teaches her his name in sign language, like the symbol for his name. And he asks her, "Do you want to see my phone?" So what we have here is the opposite of Riley and Violet. So he offers, "Do you want to see my phone?" And she says, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Yes." And they swap phones because apparently they had this deal that she initiated. "When we meet, I want to see your phone." And so he is volunteering it because he says he has nothing to hide and she has jealousy issues. So this was the deal that they made and they're both doing it willingly. It's very interesting.
Right, because you only had a year to get your phone cleared off. But go ahead.
You had a 30-hour flight where you could
Yeah.
factory reset that phone.
Totally.
So she sees a text from a friend from school with like a photo, a lady friend, and where he says, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And she says, "Why are you asking?" And he says, "Well, my friends like her, like kind of have a crush on her, and they want to know if she has a boyfriend. So I was asking for them." And she seems to believe that, and
Yeah.
he's not panicked or anything. I think that he's telling the truth. And she says, "Okay, but I still don't like her." I have established that I do not like this woman. And she admits she has trust issues from the past. And then they go out around the town, lots of culturally animal B-roll that was hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
Like chickens and dogs and cats that all just I needed to take care of.
Yeah.
So she takes him to the marketplace to teach him about her culture, and he works at a grocery store, like clean, packaged. Everything is
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah. And so here it's just very raw, and there's blood on the ground, and it's very different for him. And I did see something that was like a necklace, like of balls, some sort of maybe animal testicles that are all like threaded on string in like
Yeah.
that you would sell like that. Not that you would actually wear, but you could wear. It looks like a beaded necklace, but it was clearly like animal balls. So she has him try some crispy pork, which I for sure thought she was tricking him, like when Evelyn's sisters made Corey eat penis soup. And but he deserved it. Corey deserves all that.
Yeah.
But I think it really was just crispy pork. And so David is trying everything, and he's not being as disrespectful as most Americans, partially because he's very quiet. And most Americans on the show are very loud and obnoxious, like, ew, what's that? And pointing, and he's not like that. So he clearly doesn't enjoy it, but he's being a good sport. And then they stand in front of an old church, and they decide to have an important talk about their past relationships, just standing up. Like, you've been sightseeing all day. Sit down. Why are you standing up?
Yeah, true. Great point. I didn't even think of that.
This is like an important conversation. And so she says, my ex cheated on me, and that's why I have issues, which I assume they had already talked about all this, but they're talking about it now for the cameras. And he says, I was cheated on too. He dated this girl for 4 years, and she cheated on him. And then she says, did your ex know how to sign? And he says, yeah, she was deaf. She knew how to sign. And he says, or she says, was that better for you? Like, was it easier for you did you like that better? Because we are struggling. And so she feels self-conscious over this ex who cheated because they could communicate better. And he tells us, yes, I could communicate with her better, but I can't tell her that because she's crazy jealous. So he knows to monitor what he's going to say. And he just goes, we're not talking about exes anymore.
Yeah, good. Because of course, it would be better if you could communicate, but I mean, she's learning and they have the apps and she's learning. So she's trying.
I still have good hope for them.
I believe in their love.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I've been wrong before, but
I've been wrong most times. Times. Are you ready for Jasmine and Gino?
I always, I had a realization when I saw their hero shot again, which is her in that blue and white dress, that like weird Heidi.
Yeah, it's like a vest over a white shirt or something. Yeah.
Like she's a Duggar or something, but like with her crazy hair and like the crazy red lips, she looks like Miranda Sings. And she constantly sexually harasses Gino. So it's actually totally appropriate. And now I can't unsee it, and I want to do a side-by-side photo.
We talked about that on our last Thursday episode. Ingrid and I were talking about that.
I'm so into it.
Yeah,
I will be listening because I'm
we don't know. I mean, listen, I only know what I've heard because I never was into Miranda Sings, but I know Ingrid like took her daughters to see Miranda Sings like back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah. They were into it, the YouTube show or whatever it was.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to listen to your episode because I want to hear all about that.
Yeah, I've been listening. Heather McDonald's podcast, she talked about it a little bit. She kind of gave them more. Listen, I'm getting all my information like third hand. I don't know about it myself.
No, this girl named Swoop does these like documentary, like deep dives. They're 2.5 hours.
Oh,
and I
geez.
watched one of those. And I've been
Okay.
watching like all of the videos and all of
So
the
you know
receipts.
all.
I've been into it for a few weeks now. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I did see an Instagram post that Jasmine just did, sprinkle, sprinkle, where she did a before and after picture of herself, like just like a picture of herself with like her short, because her hair's short now, and it was curly, like naturally curly, no makeup on, and then the bottom one was hair was straight and still short, and then full face of makeup, and it was tagged like JW Marriott Panama, and she said, the top picture is what I look like, and then the bottom picture is like what I wish I looked like all the time, but I'm just being transparent, blah, sprinkle, sprinkle, whatever. And she said,
I love that she really tries to be like a feminist and like girl power and stuff, despite all of her behavior on the show.
It's very strange.
Her Instagram is like positive, uplifting, supporting everybody.
But what she said is like, I do have tattooed eyebrows and lips, but other than that, everything on my face was, she had like little, freckles and
tattooed eyebrows. Yes. Okay. Tattooed lips. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, in addition to mega lip filler,
yeah,
she's also had them tattooed red, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Well, I don't buy that totally. I know she does wear lipstick because it was all over Gino's face in that episode.
Yes, absolutely it was.
So
absolutely. She wants to put it on his beef.
Oh my God.
Okay. So she lies to Gino and says she's going to go do some errands because she needs space on her own. But hell yeah, she calls DANE. Woo! Hot DANE.
God,
now,
DANE is so hot. Can we get a spin-off of DANE?
I know.
DANE is, I just had another realization, who Tom of Tom and Darcy thinks that he is.
Yes, he does very similar. Very similar.
That's who Tom sees when he looks in the mirror, but he's wrong.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yep. So she says, thank God, he's on a family vacation this week, so we're not running into him on the elevator because Gino doesn't know. My ex-boyfriend lives in the building. Now, 2 questions. Number 1, do we think he's on a family vacation means he's married and on a trip with his family, or like he's with his parents?
I think he's with his parents / a sibling and their family.
Okay.
Like nieces and nephews.
Okay. And then number 2, I say, what would she do if Gino did this? And as that brilliant thought came to my mind, the producer asked her the same thing. Like I literally am typing, what would she do if Gino did this? And the producer says,
her flip tables when he has asked a waitress for more water. And she is talking and living in the same building with her ex and lying about the whole thing. Yeah. It's insanity.
The producer says, so do you think it's sort of hypocritical? Like how mad you get at Gino about every little thing and you're talking to your ex and lives in the same building and you haven't told him? And she goes, no, it's not. Here's why it's not hypocritical that I didn't tell him about DANE is because Gino is not mature enough to separate a friendship and a relationship, and I am. And that's the difference. So
she flipped out last season because his ex picked the color of the paint for the walls in his apartment.
Where she lived at that time, yes. So she was allowed to pick out paint color.
She needs it repainted because the paint is associated with the ex.
Tainted paint. Yeah.
But she is mature enough to separate.
Yeah. So she tells Hot DANE, who she calls Dan, she says, Dan, it's embarrassing because he does not want to have sex with me. And he's difficult and everything has to be his way. And you won't believe this. He wants me to sign a prenup. And Dane's like, oh, wow. Wow. That's crazy. Boy, am I glad I'm in Greece with my family and I don't have to deal with you. But
he's on like a White Lotus vacation with like the generations.
Yes. Anything would be better than being in this building with her. But Dane says, Jasmine, look, you're a confident woman, and you deserve somebody, who's on your level, who's also confident. And she cries and she goes, I really just needed to hear that, Dan. Sometimes Gino makes me feel like I'm not good enough. And I just want to be loved in a healthy way. And Dane goes, well, maybe you guys could try therapy, like couples therapy. And I want you to know, like, I'm here for any time. If you want to talk, I'm here for you anytime. Oh, thank you, Dane. Thank you, Dane.
Okay, so, I have a question.
Okay.
He seems to think she is a completely different person than the person that we have been seeing for several years now. Is it possible, we have discussed this before, is Gino making her insane and she's nice to everyone else in her life? Why do her friends think she's great and Dane thinks she's great and she was great in their relationship? It's like Bizarro World Jasmine, and we have been getting this telenovela version of Jasmine.
I don't know.
I don't like to say someone makes someone crazy, but there are plenty of men that have made ladies crazy and that blamed them for being crazy. Is that what's happening here?
I don't know, because on the Instagram Sprinkle, she seems just real
nice.
Normie norm. Yeah. I don't know. So when she's sitting on this park bench talking to Dane on the phone, her underwear is sticking out above the back of her pants, which begs the question, does Jasmine wear granny panties?
Wow.
Does she wear briefs like I do?
I would think she would wear none or a thong.
I know.
If I had to posit a guess.
But there was a white panty sticking above her jeans, like a granny panty. Yeah.
Interesting. I feel like they're the kind of couple that would wear each other's underwear as like a kinky, like she would initiate that. Like, so they have this like secret during the day. Is that weird?
Yes, so that's very weird.
Maybe she's wearing his like boxers or
could be. Yeah, because they look bunched up. So next scene is she's putting sunscreen on him like a toddler. She has him lay on the bed, like, let me do this for you, baby. And is laying
like
him
a toddler.
down.
I didn't even think of that.
It's like how you get your 3-year-old ready for the beach. Yeah, it's like you do your hands and you rub them down before you go to the beach, and then have them lay on the bed, do their legs.
Also, you don't need to do the part that is fully covered by the shorts. You don't need to pull up the shorts and then do the upper thighs.
She's just trying to get a glimpse.
But she's so horny.
She's just wanted to get a glimpse.
And so that meat.
She wants that meat. So they're going to work out. And then they're walking out the door and she's like, okay, Coco, bye-bye, Coco. Keep the house for us, Coco. And they get a shot of Coco going,
why is this my mom?
And then my question is again,
why is this my lot in life to live with?
Where
Jasmine?
Are the children?
Is that girl her daughter? Is her sister daughter? I think that we nailed it. I think I was fully pulling that out of my butt last time, but then we saw that meme and I thought maybe
other people have thought it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they jog to the park and now they get to the
purse.
Park.
She's wearing a full-on purse.
Does she have it like crossbody style?
No. Side just on one shoulder. Oh. Not crossbody.
What a weirdo.
Jogging with a purse.
That is very strange. So, so she is showing him some squatting exercises to some onlookers who are very uninterested. There are some onlookers.
We would see stairs. Is this just happen in Colombia? Because no one's looking at them. They're doing doggy style basically in the park. No one's looking.
She's showing him how to do jelly rolls with her woo with her pelvis and stuff. And she says, I'm trying to give you these pelvic movements to loosen up your pelvis. It's going to help you during sex, Gino, so you're not so robotic.
Okay.
And he goes,
5 minutes.
He says, I'm a total beast in the bedroom. What are you talking about?
5 minutes ago, Dane told her, you need someone more confident. You need a confident guy. You know what builds up a guy's confidence is when you criticize their sex moves.
Yeah, tell them they're terrible in the sack. Yeah. So she says, Gino, we've been here for a while now. We've only had sex once. So, and he goes, you know what, Jasmine, it's because we argue. When we argue, I just don't feel like when I have sex, I don't feel romantic towards you. And she goes, well, okay then. How many days do we have to go without an argument before you have sex with me? How many days? So he's like, well, gosh, I don't know. I can't put like a number on it. She's like, because we haven't had an argument now in 2 days. So they're talking heads. She's like, the thing about Gino is I have to feel like he loves me even if I yell and I scream, I need to feel like he loves me even with my flaws.
No, I don't like that. That pisses me off. That That love me as I am thing drives me crazy. That doesn't mean you get to be a total nightmare abusive bitch. Because it's like, love me as I am. I don't have to change or try to grow as a person because you should love me as I am. But also, I think this timer thing is a really good idea because, I mean, obviously they should break up, but if they're staying together, he should put a timer, use sex as a weapon, and they should have one of those chalkboards that says 0 days without workplace accident, and it would be like 3 days without fighting, and then they can have sex, and maybe she'd be on her best behavior.
Right, maybe so, and then she could get the beef. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, I don't know, and she goes, Gino, I will try to stop arguing if you promise we can have more sex, okay? And he goes, all right, are we done working out? Let's go. Now, for some reason, they go back to the similar pier park area.
Wait,
now they're dressed.
Is this when she asked him about what do you want to do sexually?
No, I skipped that completely. But she does ask him if he has any fantasies. And he's like, are we done? We're working out. Let's go home.
He literally is like, could you just be nice to me? Could you this is my fantasy. Most people are like, schoolgirl, sexy nurse. He's like, could you just not emotionally abuse me? That would be my fantasy. Thank you.
And talk about how my dick doesn't work. Can you just?
Yeah, that's all. And let me keep my hat on all the time. That's all I'm asking for.
I just want to put on my sleeping hat while we're having sex. So now for some reason they're on this pier back at this park, whatever, and they're practicing salsa moves and they're, dressed for the evening. And she's taking him out to meet some friends.
For one day.
I know. It was a lot. And
steps in.
He's going to have to really sleep in tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they meet Yura. So Yura speaks English and Juana does not. And Jasmine's like, oh, baby, you have to show my friends your sexy dance moves. And they're all like stand up and they're all trying to help him. And he's kind of twirling them around or they're trying to twirl him. Anyway, he doesn't know what he's doing. But they seem like they're having a good time. It's fun.
Yeah.
And outside they say, yeah, he looks good for his age. I mean, he's not my type of guy, but he looks good from behind. They laugh and laugh.
It is funny seeing him with these three gorgeous ladies. It's like one of these things is not like the other.
But they're like, all right, Jasmine, if this is your guy, like
they're
we'll dance with him.
Very nice.
Yeah, very
nice.
Sweet.
Yes.
So back at the table, Jasmine and her friends are going, look, isn't Gino? Look, he's so cute. He's so adorable. And then Yura goes, oh, he is so cute. So have you guys tried the butt plugs yet?
You know what
anyone?
Okay, why did she bring that up?
Record scratch? Yeah.
No. B, the way Jasmine talks about him like he's a puppy is so emasculating. And I don't believe in like traditional gender norms and stuff, but like cute, adorable, like he's a little baby. That's not going to make a guy
She's
excited.
Like, oh, you do boo boo boo. Lay on the bed. Let me put your sunscreen on. Let me do it for you. Let me cut up your food. Yeah.
It's very strange.
Maybe that's part of his problem.
Yeah. Unless he's into it, but I don't think he is.
Regarding the butt plugs, Jasmine goes, no, I haven't even told you yet. Gino.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Gino, did you ever have anal sex with somebody else? Because I know you haven't had it with me. And he goes, no. Let's change the subject. So, how did you gals meet Jasmine? So,
he's so
Jasmine,
uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable. Jasmine and Yura say they met a few years ago and they had something in common at that time. Both their partners had cheated on them.
And they started a superhero league where they would attack men in the middle of the night to get their revenge.
I guess. And then Yura goes, so, Gino, have you cheated on Jasmine? And he goes, no, I would never cheat on Jasmine, and I hope she would not cheat on me either. But today she was talking to some guy, and he says he confronted her because she was acting weird when she got home, and she admitted that she had been video chatting with her ex-boyfriend DANE. And he says it's really bothering him. But he's trying to let it go because they're like, just like Riley and Violet, he got the memo, like, we're going to be out in public. You better act right. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to act like it doesn't bother him. And then she goes, well, listen, I'm not capable of cheating on Gino. Right, Juana? And Juana, who's already said she doesn't speak English, is like, okay, yeah, right. She didn't know what he said. Just didn't speak English.
She's
they
like, right? Juana, right? And Juana's like, right? Please don't kill me with a butt plug. I have no idea what you're talking about.
See? So now, in the talking head, he tells us, I don't know what she's been doing for 18 months. And now she's being sneaky. And I'm suspicious of that. So he pulls Yura aside and is like, so what's up with this guy, DANE? And Yura goes, oh, she dated him in 2018, but now they're just good friends. And he goes, so that's right before we started dating. Huh. And Yura goes, yeah, don't worry. She loves you and wants to marry with you. So don't worry about this. And he goes, I don't like it. Feels like she's hiding something. His talking head, he's finally seen the light. He says, imagine what Jasmine would do if I told her I was still in touch with my ex.
Mm-hmm.
She would blow a nut. So the fact
He shared her photo with his ex.
Well, that was terrible.
To make her, which was horrific.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And she flipped that cap right off his head. Again, deservedly.
She sure did. She threw away that electric toothbrush so fast.
Uh-huh.
And he says she would blow a nut. So the fact that her ex is still in her life and she's hiding it is a big red flag. Something's going on. Well, that's right. And I'm glad you have found out before you finally get that visa approved. That visa is going to get approved. He's not even going to tell her.
So do you think she's actually cheating with other people?
No, but I do think it's not fair for her to put those restrictions on him and then not follow them herself. Yeah. She could talk to her girlfriends about it. She doesn't have to talk to Dan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Even though he is super hot. It's so interesting because she's like, he wasn't manly enough for me, but Gino is?
What the? Gino is a little girl. Like, that's how you talk about him. Like, yeah, he has pigtails.
Yeah.
Like, she says, you go first, my princess. She calls him my princess.
She
let him go out the door first.
She did call him my princess. I was hoping that she was trying to say my prince something with the word prince, but you're right. She did say that. Oh my God.
But she's looking for a confident man to throw her up against the wall and make love to her. You're not building that up him to do that sort of thing. I don't understand this dynamic at all.
We have seen in the previews her like in a dog collar, and with him with the leash. So maybe
I could see more like him being one of those guys who likes to wear an adult diaper, and they have like one of those nanny weird adult baby things going on.
Oh my God.
But he doesn't seem to have any sexual desires whatsoever.
We have to. Okay, let's move on.
I've seen a lot of those shows on like weird, real weird sex, like HBO.
Yeah. Now, Max. Next time on 90 Day, before the 90 days, Statler lands in England, and we get a shot of her in the toilet. And she has been sick as a dog with the bathroom problems. The panic
She's
poops.
on the toilet, right? And we hear something
and
that
she's
is like bathroom sounds.
Yeah. No, she's like, no way I can meet Dempsey today. I was like, good, because she probably needs a nap. She's coming from Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you don't have to have the door open when they're filming you, Statler.
Yeah, you could just be like, I'm having bathroom
problems. I know you're
problems.
different, but you don't have to do that.
We don't need to see it. Nicola says to Misha, you're just rush. We have our whole life together, Misha. And she says, we don't know that, Nicola. We have to figure that out in the next few weeks. Like, are we going to go to the next level or not? And he says, well, this is the first time she's threatened the relationship.
She didn't. What are you talking about?
She's not threatening it. I think her whole point is like, I'm here. I'm going to meet your family. Like we've been talking for 7 years, come on.
His lack of experience in relationships is really starting to show.
Yeah. It's just rush. She's like, 7 years? We're rushing? Yeah. So then we see Tyree, and Tyree says, after seeing Carmela's photos on the escort website, I reached out to a private investigator.
Good.
So he and his sister go and meet with this PI, and the PI says, I did some more of those reverse image searches, and I got a hit on some sites. And he goes, more escort sites? And the PI goes, it's a lot more raunchy than that. And then we get some blurred out screen that we can't see, but it looks like some kind of porn situation. Again, that's not Carmela. That's just the photo that the catfish is using.
Yes.
Yeah, the
So
picture of
I think he's finally going to realize that and then try to track down not the woman in the photos, but the person that was doing the typing and having
yeah,
this connection,
yeah,
even if
yeah.
it's a man.
So Gino says that he's concerned about Jasmine's ex, Dane, and how often they talk. And she goes, I don't know, Gino. Like once a week? You act like I'm cheating on you. And he goes, are you? Of course, her answer will be no. And then whatever, we'll drag
Is
this
he
out.
going to find out he lives in that building too? That building that Gino is paying for?
I hope so. I hope he does. I hope he does. I hope he does. Why am I all of a sudden
They're hanging
Team
on.
Gino
Just,
now?
they
Yeah.
want their her living in Michigan storyline. So, or at least my dad does.
Yeah, I don't.
He's so into that.
It's gonna be rough out there.
Yeah.
So Christian and Cleo are at a bar and he's doing his thing because he's so wacky. He's talking to the whole table of girls next to him. He's chatting them up. Oh, it's your birthday, and doing this whole thing. And then she says, I feel like you're like hitting on those girls. He's like, no, I'm not hitting on them. I'm just chatting. And she's like, well, we're on a date. And she says, he doesn't make me feel special.
No, and she is neurodivergent and has trouble in crowds and talking to people. And he's literally ignoring her to chat up these strangers at the other table. It's
because he wants everybody to see how cool he is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so rude. Is he just on this to be on the show because he thinks he's this wild, crazy guy and he could have like be a YouTuber or something? Like,
I don't know.
I'm very concerned. I have a lot of concerns now about
And
Christian.
I don't like the way this is going with the two of them.
I don't at all. Then there's like another theory going around online that I won't talk about, but it is also like makes me mad at him. So.
Oh, okay. Well, don't tell me.
I'll tell you off the air.
Tell me off the air. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Riley calls his friend Tiffany, and they're sitting there with Violet. And he hopes that Tiffany, his friend, who Violet has never met, will be able to get Violet to open up. So they're FaceTiming with this girl, Tiffany, and Tiffany's like, why did you say you were off the apps when you weren't? Why didn't you delete the app? And she starts grilling her, and I'm like, this is not
cool. This is an ambush. And
yeah. If they were in person and they were all sitting around chatting, it'd be one thing. But to like, hey, I'm going to FaceTime my friend so she can ask you questions.
Yeah. But he knows she like doesn't respect him. She just makes fun of him and doesn't answer any of his questions. So he's putting his tough friend on the job. That's not the way to do it.
It's not. Riley, we don't agree with that.
Also, you should just not be in this relationship if you can't get a straight answer out of her yourself and you need to have someone else do your dirty work.
Yeah, if you don't trust each other or you don't trust her, then why'd you even go? I mean, he's even said that himself. Why am I even here? If you don't trust her, why are you even there?
Yeah.
And perhaps she's given him great reason.
Yeah.
And perhaps she hasn't. I don't know. I feel like in like a week or two more, we're going to find out some horrible bombshell about Riley. They've been gonna this whole time. And you and I are going to be like, well, if they would have told us that, we would have hated him.
And we have done that disclaimer every episode. I want to make sure people hear it. We've kept saying we might be wrong. We just haven't seen it yet. Because I don't want to hear I told you so's. I hate I told you so's.
Oh, we're going to get it. But like with Christian.
He found out he murdered like a unhoused person or something. I'm going to be.
No.
I'm so sorry, guys, that we didn't know. They didn't tell us that part.
And I think that we've been pretty right on about Christian and how he might behave.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of have hopes for Statler and Dempsey. They look like they could be a cute couple, but we don't know if Statler is going to come across too desperado and Dempsey's going to be like, slow your roll.
Yeah.
Nicola and Misha, I think, is not going to work out.
No.
And Tyree obviously is not going to work out. Amanda and Ross.
What if he does find love? What if he actually finds the person and he falls in love with them?
But if he's not gay and it's a man, that's going to be difficult.
It's about the heart. Maybe he learns that he's like pansexual or something. And it's about the heart of the person.
Amanda and Rosbun, we know, are not going to work out because there's just no way it could. And who else do we have? Oh, David and Sheila, for sure. We believe in their love.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, and Riley and Violet, I'm giving it a 50-50.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
They got to quit being so sarcastic. They got to talk without being sarcastic.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of our recap. And you guys don't forget to go over and listen to A Date with Dateline. They generally will cover the Dateline from the Friday before.
Yeah, but summertimes there's a lot of repeats. So
Yeah. Not from you guys, but
no, from Dateline.
And so then you guys will put up like a throw it back episode or whatever.
Yeah, a classic.
And they a rewind, as you will. And they have a very robust and exciting Patreon and Supercast, so you should go check that. I'm a member.
It is robust.
Robust. It is robust. Did you like that?
I loved that.
I majored in English. I don't want to brag. And that's it, guys. And please, as you know, I'm out here begging for Instagram followers. Please follow us on Instagram. It actually really helps me as far as ads and things go.
Are you going on Threads?
Already on it.
Okay, you did it.
Mm-hmm, I did it.
Okay.
Caitlin, the social media girl, actually did it and then told me she did it.
Okay.
So yeah, me personally, Mary Payne too, I am not on it. But the podcast is on it.
Okay.
And what else? What else should we say? Oh yeah, follow us on Instagram. And if you guys like this podcast, or if you like Date with Dateline, or if you like both, go ahead and click that 5 stars. That helps as well. That helps other people find the podcast. Mm-hmm. So that's the plug at the end. And thank you guys. And I'll see you on Thursday. Oh guys, Thursday's episode is going to be with Sarah Colonna. She's coming on to talk about Welcome to Crappy Lake and just sort of pop culture in general. Fun. And you guys know Sarah Colonna from Are You My Podcast? And she's a famous comedian. It was on Shameless, and she's an actress. And
great.
Yeah. So she's coming on. But I want you guys to know that episode will go up late on Thursday. It'll go up Thursday night because I'm having a nerve ablation on Thursday morning and don't know how long the drugs they give me will knock me out. So I can't record till the afternoon. So
poor Mary.
Thursday's episode will be up late, but it will be up on Thursday at some time in the afternoon. Possibly
You're so
evening.
dedicated.
So dedicated. I don't care. I have a nerve ablation. I'm still going to record for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Nothing can stop her.
Nothing can stop me.
About these people.
That's right. All right. Thank you, Kimberly. And I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.